Hi, welcome back to Christine's Corner. I'm so glad you came. Today, I know you haven't seen Grandma Christine in a long time, so here we are. And I just interviewed this lady and her daughter, and her name is Priscilla O. Hill, and she did the writing and the illustration. Not the daughter, not with this one, a different one. But isn't that beautiful? It's just beautiful. Yeah. And it says A Little Seashell and Her Amazing Journey by Priscilla O. Hill. On the back, I want to read, it says, "Are you ready to embark in the most exciting journey with Little Seashell?" As she encounters some interesting sea creatures and discovers who she really is. Then waste no time. You will be engaged with every page as new events continue to happen, leading to a surprising and striking ending. Don't forget to share what you learn with your friends. And this is dedicated to her husband, Chris, who has supported her while creating her own amazing journey. Isn't that very nice? There she was, sitting by herself in her thoughts. I wish I was special. That's a little seashell right here. Have you felt like that? I have, throughout different times. We all go through. Yes. You just don't feel special. She felt that there was nothing about her that was unique. She felt that she was ugly. She felt that she was boring. And she felt that she was weak. Have you felt like that sometimes? Maybe for a second? She just felt that she was not special at all. She felt that she would never be good enough for anyone. That's pretty sad. For anyone? Oh. So she always sat there alone in the same spot. She wanted to never be seen and never be heard. One day, along came, swimming by, a mandarin fish. If you don't know what a mandarin fish is, this is what it looks like. I love her drawings. The little seashell was overcome by this beautiful fish and its bright colors. She thought to herself, I wish I was this colorful. The mandarin fish approached the little seashell and asked, Do I scare you? My eyes bug out of my face, and sometimes other fish run away from me. I wish I was like you. The little seashell was surprised by such a question. After all, she only saw its beauty when she looked at him. She even thought that his eyes were a unique characteristic and it complemented his face perfectly. But he swam away before she could tell him. A little while after, an octopus comes, moving by the little seashell. So many tentacles and such a bright color. He even changes its appearance to match the environment that he's in. It's so cool. Look at that octopus. Beautiful. The little seashell thought to herself, I wish I was that exciting. The octopus got near the little seashell and asked, do I look too busy to you? Some other sea creatures will not get near me because they think I am too much. I wish I was like you. The little seashell could not believe the octopus' words. She thought he was so wonderful and fun, but he swam away before she could tell him. Time went on. The little seashell was still in that same spot and still in her thoughts. Suddenly, something fell on her shell and made a bumpy sound. Ooh, what could that be? I wonder. She looked up and saw that a blue marlin had just dropped something on her shell. Luckily, it did not crack. Have you ever seen one of these? It's probably deep in the water. It's kind of pointy, huh? I'm sorry, apologized the blue marlin. You see, he continued, I'm very fast and strong, but this bill in front of my head makes it hard for me to carry things. I wish I was like you. The little seashell was in disbelief. How can such a majestic, powerful sea creature feel so bad about himself? But he swam away before she could tell him. After all the events that had happened that day, the little seashell was even more so in her thoughts. She started to think of all the sea creatures that she encountered. The mandarin fish that felt that he was scary looking, the octopus that felt that he was too much, and the blue marlin that felt that despite his fast speed and strength was not good enough because the bill on his head gets in the way of him doing certain things. When she thought of those sea creatures, it was hard for her to believe how they felt about themselves. When she looked at them, all she could see was how amazing and special each one of them was in their own way. She thought to herself, maybe I am special too. All of the negative thoughts she had about herself were never told to her by anyone. She was the only one telling them to herself. She decided that she needed to change that. Instead of negative self-talk, she would say positive things about herself from then on. She would no longer stay in the same spot every day. Instead, she decided she was going on a journey to find the sea creatures she encountered to tell them once and for all how special they are too. She was beaming with so much excitement that something really amazing happened. What? She opened herself up. With the help of 2 mirrors lost in the deep ocean, she could see her reflections. What she saw made her gasp. She has a beautiful, shiny white pearl inside her shell. It was the most incredible sight she has ever seen. Look at that. Yes. Beautiful pearl. We all have a beautiful pearl inside and out. Each and every one of you. For that longest time, she felt that she was ugly, boring, and weak. Not special at all. But then she discovered that not only is she beautiful, exciting, and strong, but she is also very special. She was ready to start her journey to tell her friends how special they are too. From that day on, the little seashell never sat alone in that same spot. She never said negative things about herself. She wanted to be seen and she wanted to be heard. She wanted to make sure that everyone that she crossed paths with on her journey realized that we are all special in our own and unique way. The end. Here she is. She's beautiful. And so are you. Inside and out. Never forget. You just look in the mirror. When you do, you say positive. Only positive, not negative, okay? You are beautiful and handsome. No matter who you are, where you come from, what you look like, how you talk, everything is special and unique. Isn't that a wonderful story? I've just loved it. And then I have another one that my professor, when I was going to Springfield College in Massachusetts, he wrote this book, this story by Richard Anderson, illustrated by Gerald Purnell, and is by Illumination Arts Publishing Company, LLC. And this is a true story, a real true story. And it's called A Home Run for Bunny. And that's the name of the baseball player, and not a hippity-hoppity bunny. You'll see in just a minute. It says in the back, I have to share how different it is today when we have a black governor in Massachusetts and a black president as the head of our country. Remember when? Sports were meant to bring people together, not to separate them because of their color. Tony King, age 95, team captain, American Legion, post 21, summer of 1934. I'm going to start with the story first. And yes, he is black. This is the story of a remarkable baseball team from Springfield, Massachusetts. True story. And it's a star player, a boy named Bunny, who was the only African American on the team. The year was 1934. Not really all that long time ago. A time very different from today, though. Throughout much of the United States, and especially in the South, white children and black children went to separate schools. Many businesses, including hotels and restaurants, refused to serve black people. They even had to drink from different water fountains. Is that horrible? In those days, no Major League Baseball teams had black players. It was not until 1947 that a talented second baseman named Jackie Robinson was signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers. Jackie became the first African American to play in the modern major leagues. People were fighting for equal rights off the field as well. In 1955, a courageous black woman named Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to move to the back of a bus. The seats in the front were reserved for white people. On August 28, 1963, more than 300,000 people marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. On that hot summer afternoon, Dr. King delivered his historic "I Have a Dream" speech, calling for a day when people would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Although the story of Bunny Taliaferro and his remarkable Springfield team is not widely known, it honors and celebrates an important event in the history of America's struggle for racial equality. This is dedicated to Diane, the heart and soul of our team, Richard Anderson. And this is an illustration of Bunny. I never liked Bunny Talaferro. How could you with a name like Bunny? He wasn't even Italian. His real name was Ernest, but everyone called him Bunny because all he did was run everywhere, to and from school, on errands for his mom and dad. He even ran around the block while waiting for his friends to come out and play. Yes, Bunny could run fast, and he could throw too. When we were only 8, I saw him hurl a snowball from across his backyard to keep a squirrel from stealing the birdseed. Bunny's first baseball mitt was the old-fashioned kind with 3 fingers. His mom had to stuff it with rags and lace and back up before he could use it. An old tire his dad hung from a tree in their backyard became Bunny's first strike zone. You see the old tire hanging up on the tree? I remember that swinging from a tree. It's pretty cool. But that's where he threw his snowballs, which were really for baseball. That's how he practiced. I was as good a pitcher as Bunny, but he was the one who made history. At Springfield Tech, he became the first freshman ever to earn varsity letters in football, basketball, and baseball. And Bunny didn't just letter. He was the star. When our schools met in the city football championship, Bunny rushed for more yards than all our running backs combined. We'd never seen anyone who could run so fast. Even the newspapers started calling him Bunny. Bunny 21, Cathedral 7, read the headline. Bunny was the youngest player on his basketball squad, but that didn't stop him from scoring more points than anyone else on the team. He also led the league in steals. 4 of them came off me in one game. That Bunny is fast, isn't he? Boy, I bet you he could have run track too, right? He was so fast. Don't you just don't like it when the papers stick together, and especially when you're trying to read? But baseball was Bunny's specialty. Throwing strikes came as easy to him as hurling hardballs through that old tire in his backyard. As a freshman, he went undefeated and pitched a complete game every time he took the mound. When he wasn't pitching, Bunny played center field and batted over 400. He had more hits, scored more runs, and stole more bases than anyone else on the team. The only thing he didn't do was strike out. It doesn't matter what color your skin. You can do something, shout it out. Baseball was my specialty too. And though my team wasn't as good as Bunny's, we won every game I pitched. When the school season ended, we were both picked for the American Legion All-Star team. Who would have guessed we'd wind up wearing the same colors after competing against each other so many times? Both of us pitched really well all summer, but I had to warm the bench between my starts while Bunny made a name for himself, playing center field. With his amazing speed, he was able to catch balls other outfielders could never have reached. He also threw out a lot of base runners who normally would have been safe. I hated to admit it, but Bunny really was the better athlete. Our team lost only once all summer, and it was one of the games I pitched. Wouldn't you know it? After taking the league title, we sailed through Massachusetts Championship Series with Bunny, tossing shutouts in both games. Bunny pitched another shutout in the opening game of the New England Championship Series. along with stroking 2 home runs and stealing 6 bases. He even picked off a runner at third. How often have you seen a pitcher do that? The next day, I did something Bunny never did, allowing only 4 hits and 1 walk in an 11-inning shutout. Next up, the Eastern Regionals in Gastonia, North Carolina. When we boarded the train with Coach Steer and our team manager, Mr. Harris, we were all a little nervous, but also very excited. None of us had ever traveled so far from home before. All I knew about North Carolina was that it was south of Massachusetts. We knew something was wrong just after the train pulled in Gastonia. The band that had been playing walked off as soon as they saw Bunny step on to the platform. And then the bus pulled away, leaving us stranded. We had to carry our bags and equipment all the way to the hotel. When we got to the hotel, the manager told Mr. Harris, "Colored folks ain't allowed to sleep here, so we've arranged for your boy to stay with a local Negro doctor." Bunny is a member of this team, Mr. Harris replied. "Where the team goes, he goes." At this point, an official from the American Legion spoke up. "Since this law doesn't include servants, can't the boy be registered as the coach valet?" "Bunny is not a servant," Coach Steer growled. "He's going to be treated like every other member of this team." "Then he'll have to sleep in your room on a cot," the manager insisted. "We can't have no colored boys sleeping in no bed for white people." Bunny looked like he wanted to sink through the cracks in the floor. "I don't want to cause any trouble," he mumbled. "You're not the one causing trouble." Mr. Harris fumed. "You deserve to sleep in a real bed just like everyone else." That afternoon, we held our practice. More than 2,000 people showed up to watch. That was a bigger crowd than we had at all games back home put together. And were they mad? Steaming. "You boys don't play your last game," one man shouted. Others threatened to tear the shirts off our backs if Bunny even stepped onto the field. One usher told me that Ku Klux Klan was planning to kidnap us from the hotel, and our families would never hear from us again. Some of the boys were really scared. I was too. Baseball wasn't worth getting killed over. At the same time, something deep inside me wanted to prove that we could beat any team in the tournament. Bunny was the first to make a move. He grabbed his bat, stepped up to the plate, and started taking cuts at imaginary pitches. When Coach Steers told us to take our positions on the field, for once I was glad to be warming the bench. More threats and jeers filled the air as Coach made his way to the mound. "Batter up," he called. Bunny lined the first pitch over the left field fence. That silenced the crowd, but only for a second. Coach Steer threw his second pitch, and Bunny airmailed that one out of the park too. "Special delivery to the people of Gastonia." The more noise the crowd made, the smoother Bunny swung. He hit 6 home runs on 6 pitches. That's when it started raining soda bottles, tin cans, and half-eaten hot dogs. Oh my God, can you imagine? It's horrible. More trouble greeted us when we got back to the hotel. The teams from Maryland and Florida announced that they wouldn't play against us if Bunny was allowed on the field. We also found out that we couldn't go to the welcome banquet if Bunny was with the team. To make matters worse, the American Legion official didn't think the police would be able to protect us from the crowds. "Your boy is the only Negro player in the tournament," he told Mr. Harris. "What if he hits a batter with a pitch? What if he slides into somebody trying to steal a base? What if Bunny pitches a no-hitter? Mr. Harris snapped back. What if he scores the winning run? That evening, Coach Steer called another team meeting. He gave it to us straight. You have a decision to make. You can either play without Bunny, or you can pack your bags and go home. If you leave now, the national finals in Chicago are out. The choice is yours. Tony King, our team captain, spoke first. Bunny had broken every one of Tony's records from the summer before, but he didn't hesitate. There's no choice. Bunny is a member of this team. If he doesn't play, neither do I. I knew I could have pitched us to victory in Gastonia, but I also voted to go home. So did every other player. Bunny came through for all of us summer long, and now it was our turn to do the same for him. That night, we snuck out of the hotel and caught a train heading north. It had to make a special stop just for us. Bunny was the first to speak. I know you guys wanted that championship as bad as I did, but having teammates like you is more important than winning any ball game. You guys aren't just teammates, you're friends, the best friends anyone could have. News of what happened in North Carolina reached Springfield before we did. When the train pulled into the Union Station, a huge crowd, even bigger than the one in Gastonia, was waiting to greet us. The people cheered wildly and held up signs calling us heroes and champs. Flashbulbs lit up the night like fireworks. Looking back now, nothing we did on any ball field compares with what we did on August 23rd, 1934, long before anyone had ever heard of Jackie Robinson. A team of 15-year-old kids from Springfield, Mass. chose loyalty and respect over championships. Without swinging a single bat, we'd hit a home run, not just for Bunny, but for people everywhere. Wasn't that a fantastic story? But it wasn't actually because of the races and bigotry. And sadly, we still have that today, in different forms and different shapes and different colors. And it's very, very sad. I hope we can all change that real soon. Thank you for listening to my, these stories that these really nice people have written. And be warm and safe and be kind to each other. Love you. Bye.
Nick Augustino right here at the East Side Restaurant. We always have the complete full dinner menu. Knockwurst, bratwurst, sauerbraten, potato pancakes, red cabbage, rice pudding, cream pies, all the desserts that Germany had to offer. I always do something different. Yes, I do. I brought seafood to the beer garden at the East Side Restaurant. East Side Restaurant, your German destination restaurant in Connecticut. Tiki-taka, hoy, hoy, hoy!